Yeah. Alright, hi YouTubers. Last time I've been shooting this it's like the 10th time I've had to shoot this adapter. So I'm 00782653117 on Atari Age. AVE1 had some concerns we're gonna go over today on my latest video that I had last time. So you go to Amazon, that's the 8-bit doll, these two receivers right here at the bottom. And those are 20 apiece. Mayflash, I bought one off eBay for $11.99, but these are these two white ones here. Here are these two white ones, the last ones here. And these convert GameCube to Wii. And the first one on the top is, let me see if we can focus in 8-bit receiver. So AVE1 from AtariH.com had a couple of concerns. I had my phone storage set to internal, that's why I was goofing up. But now it's on SD. I don't know why I didn't have it that way before. So anyway, this was the old setup we discovered. You have a Camerica Freedom Stick came with this type of receiver. And then that paired with a Freedom Stick and let you use Freedom Stick on Nintendo or Genesis because it had detachable cable. And they had Genesis version too, I don't know why. So press start. Turn her on. This is like the 10th time I've had to shoot this video, seriously. Press start. And it has to be really good line of sight or it doesn't work. But as you can see, it's working. So first the Camerica, this receiver into the Master Play clone. Master Play was a device allows you to use 2600 controllers on 5200, but the original Master Play is expensive, so low budget on Atari Age, and I think Atari Guy 21, that was his name, and Protos 8 made some clones that worked pretty good. I got one of the original low budget clones. It's pretty good. So I'm just going to take the batteries out. I got this red Game Boy Pocket from Japan. It's pretty good, but it the contrast is very, when you like go up and down, it's like very, how should I say, flickery. So I don't know what's wrong. I took it apart and it looked clean as hell. So I don't know. Yeah, complained that the guy I bought it from. Anyway, that was the original setup, and I made a video regarding a new system that I found. But AVE1 from AtariH.com had a couple of concerns. So first he said was the cable. Well, that's by lcon.com on eBay. It's like 15 bucks. A little pricey, but it's worth it. It doesn't snugly fit, but so you have to unscrew the pins on the side to hold it in place because there's no holes on an Atari. But it's a male to female 15-pin game port cable. But it totally works because that doesn't move at all. That stays still, so that's pretty good. I'm still rolling, yeah. Awesome. So that works pretty good. Female to plug into the pins on the Atari, and male to plug into my Master Play adapter clone. So I don't need this anymore. So where's my gbros? So this goes into my Master Play. I was using a Seagull yesterday. I was wondering, that was a second comment why I was using a Seagull. Well, when you plug a Seagull into the 2600 Junior, and then plug in the 8-bit Genesis 9-pin receiver, it powers on. If you plug it directly into the back of the 26 or 7800, it doesn't. So my cable, my 8-bit Oh, gee, bro, it's right here on the sofa. So now I'm going to turn on my 5200. So it's blinking now. In order to activate this, you press the red button. Green does nothing. This gray button has to be in switch mode to the S, not the X. Then you press the yellow button and the blue one on this. When they start blinking rapidly, they connect to each other. After a while, it synchronizes. Now you're probably asking yourself, well, the old setup was fine, but why do you need this? Well, those adapters are hard to find. You can find it on eBay. If they break, you're out of luck. Like I had one 9-pin Genesis cable that I thought my whole system was busted, but turned out to be just that defective cable. But good luck finding a replacement, because they're not easy to find these days. Sorry, just low breath, because I've been shooting this thing for the past 3 hours trying to get it perfect. And it keeps goofing up, or I have to start over. So yeah, good luck finding a replacement. This gbros is 20. It's 20 for that, except I got 2 for 20 because I returned something and they gave me $8.99 gift card, which I used. So one adapter was only $4 and the other was like 14 or 15 something. But normally it's 20 a piece, so 20 and 20 is 40. And about 10 for these. AVE1, like I said, was fixing my Ralph Knight cable. He couldn't fix it, so he gave me this instead. Mailed this to me for free. And the other box that I had previously shown you, and this is the NES version I'm using right now. Just go to Amazon, type in Hyperkin NES to NES Classic. So once this is synced up, the good thing about this is you have like almost not a limited range, but quite a bit. And that thing has to be line of sight, that Camerica. This slips right into my pocket. I'm going to start the game. Wow, that's pretty cool. Plus I can plug SNES with the other adapter, Hyperkin adapter. This is SNES to Wii Remote. One side is GameCube and one is Wii Remote, so you can use a GameCube controller too. It's only one at a time, but it's not bad. Or unplug the Hyperkin adapter and plug in the SNES version, then you can use an SNES cable. Or I got a Spirit Classic controller from from Target for $10 to use with my NES Classic, which looks just like a real NES controller, but with this type of connection on the other end. I have that sitting here in my pile of adapters too somewhere. Yeah, so this looks just like a NES controller, but the other end is not NES, it's Classic for my Classic system. So, you can use that, or you can use a Classic controller, a Wii Classic controller. And you can use this guy. You can use this guy, and he works pretty good too. The thing about this is range is awesome. So I'm going to stuff this in my pocket, which I couldn't do with the other whole Camerica setup. I'm going to go back about 16 feet. Yeah, he's working. It's going up, down, left, and right. Obviously, I can't show you the actual screen. Can't show you both sides, but you can take my word for it, he's working. I'm standing behind the camera right now. And wow, he's working. He's moving the Pac-Man, so it's pretty good range. So first was the mention of the Alcon cable. Well, that's the only way to power that on. Otherwise you have to use gender changers, and that bends the pins. Unless you put something underneath the master plate to heighten it up and keep it from bending the pins. So it's better if it stays on the floor and that cable connects directly into my 5200. Also, why is the Seagull being used? Well, I guess we don't need it. I didn't realize we don't. Then he says, I have 8-bit retro receiver for NES, wirelessly connected 4-score, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's fine. You can do that. And that works the Joy-Cons too. He says is the retro bit adapter you have designed to currently work on Genesis 9-pin with current controllers. Well, both description for this Genesis 8-bit 9-pin and the original NES Retrobit 7-pin receiver says they both use Joy-Cons. I guess most of them do. So it probably will work with real original controllers. I mean not original, but like new ones. And then of course, you know, it'll work with like PS4, Wiimote, and all that. And on a real 2600, same exact setup. But I got this from RalphNet Technologies too. This plugs into the game port, so this plugs into this side of the gbros. And then I can plug in real 2600 controllers, like my Hyperkin Trooper or my CX40, which I got from Salvation Army. I know it's a lot for $10, but hey, getting these to work wirelessly instead of like bulky that RF switch box they had back in the day, not bad at all. So let's see, first was the mention of the Elcon, then the Seagull, then he's talking about his 4-score setup. Well, yeah, that's good, but this is only 2 adapters. That was 4 adapters. One receiver first, then the Freedom Connect, then the 4-score, and then the NES adapter receiver. This is just one 9-pin Genesis 8-bit receiver and one gbros adapter. That's it. And then whatever you want to plug into that. So 2 things versus 4 things. Not bad at all. And then he asked, is my Master Play cologne, which was made by Atari Age member, low budget, get 7800 controllers working on 2-button 5200 games? Well, I don't have the European style ones that work on 50 that are close to NES and looks wise. I only have 2 Pro lines, but this, I'm super exhausted. I've been shooting this for 3 hours. I either run out of space or the video gets corrupt or something. So hopefully this works. I don't have the energy to check, but I will later, because this is getting long enough as it is. So I don't know about that, but at least the rest works. And what Hyperkin NES adapters get NES or NES controllers to work with their setup? Well, as you can see, those 2 things I just showed you that plugged into the gbros. One he mailed me, and one I bought from eBay or Amazon. So those are the 2. So that's basically it. So yeah, I did make a first video. I showed you all that Camerica junk, and he has a channel called Wired Up Retro on YouTube, and he made his own video about that discovery, and he mentioned my name. Shout out, thanks for that. And AVE1, real name is Steve. Thanks, Steve, for the shout out. And so he touched on that, but then I discovered this works too. I was afraid whether to buy it for like $20, but you know, you can go back to Kohl's and they do returns. I have a Kohl's like 3 miles from the house, so I can just go there, and they do Amazon returns now because they're partnered with them, and it's so much easier. I just went there, literally 5 minutes later, he packaged it up, and 3 days later I got my refund. It's so cool. So, so I had no worry about buying, as long as it's directly from Amazon. Like with Prime, my mom is Prime, so we set up Prime household. I think you're allowed 1 adult, 2 teens, and 4 children. So I set myself up as a part of the household. We're sharing the Prime benefits. So I literally paid 0 shipping on all of these. Some took 2 or 3 days to arrive, but who cares? If you buy it directly from Amazon and not from third-party sellers, like they say you can also buy it from other sellers at the bottom, never do that. Just always, unless you really need something and it's dirt cheap, like half the price, or it's just a quick game or something. But these adapters, if I bought it from them, it'd be a hassle to like contact them and return it. So I just bought it from Amazon, not knowing if they would work, but at least I knew I could return it, and it's much easier when I buy from Amazon versus, you know. Anyway, so I just did that. I just bought from Amazon. So, and they worked. I mean, thankfully it worked. Just my 8-bit doll, and then the gbros, as you can see right there, my gbros, and that's it. Two things get talking to each other, and then whatever I plug into that works. Why, would you ask? Because it's a lot better than the Camerica setup. Because those stuff is hard to find, and that could easily be expensive too. Way more than 40 or 50 by the time you find a guy's. And you don't even know they're used, if they work or not, because I bought a spare, like I said, 9-pin cable I thought was defective. The whole system was defective, but it turns out just that was. So there's no guarantee they even work, even if you find them on eBay. This gbros adapter and the Mayflash GameCube to Wii adapter and the Hyperkin adapter are fairly new. NES Classic came out in 2016, and 1 or 2 years later the SNES version came out. So these are probably still be available for a long time to come. You'll have no trouble finding these. So a little expensive. Better than like modifying your own pad, as somebody else on Atari Age did. I won't mention names and don't want to start a fight, but somebody wired a 9-pin, took apart like a cheap dog bone, third-party dog bone, and wired it into a 9-pin connector so it fits into his master play and he can use it. This is way more expensive, but once you got this working, it's wireless, the range is great, you're not, the master play, even if you wire up a 9-pin into there, you're limited to probably 5-10 feet cord. This, you can run around, you can, range is awesome. And if it breaks, you just take out the Hyperkin adapter or the NES controller plugged into the back of it, and you plug another one from your collection, or you buy another one off eBay. Or even the classic controllers might be hard to find, but they're still available on Amazon or NES 10 or 20 a piece. And that's a lot easier than buying old junk off eBay that's not necessarily guaranteed to work. So that's why that is. Because that's much easier than trying to, like, you don't know if pads are, even if they say refurbished, how long they'll last, or if the rubber's worn out, or if you wire up your own controller and plug it into your master play, that breaks, you have to wire up another one. And if you're not good with soldering, or God forbid you burn the whole house to the ground, that's no good either. So you buy 2 of these adapters, and then you can buy like 2 or 3 spare, you can probably still find Wii Classic controllers at GameStop, or wired ones that plug into your like your NES or SNES Classic, or even third-party ones are probably still on eBay that are brand new and good price, or that are still way better than buying like 30-year-old, 40-year-old NES controllers that have been sitting in somebody's garage for like the past 30 years and may or may not work. So a little expensive, but once you get it set up, it's worth it, because the original 5200 controllers were junk and the buttons stopped working after a while. So this is a much better way of doing things. Oddly enough, when I use that RalphNet GameCube to Atari adapter, it works. I can play Pac-Man with a 2600 controller, but the buttons don't work for some reason, which is odd. But at least the stick part works. But I don't need that. If you just use the gbros and you plug in then you plug in a GameCube or a NES controller into that, it's perfect. Plays Pac-Man, you can swing the vines on Jungle Hunt, play Frogger. I don't know if 2-button support game works or not, but at least you can swing the vines in Jungle Hunt, move up and down, kill the alligators, jump all the rocks, probably beat the whole game. Frogger, one of the buttons works. I don't remember if it's left or right, but at least you can hold the up button up on the D-pad, and then you can jump with one of the buttons and get all the frogs on the other side, into the, whatever that's called. Those little round circle half moons that you have to get the frog into, those little caves, mini caves. So at least you can play 1-button games, and it's pretty cool. Or even just playing Pac-Man wirelessly is so cool. And same for Space Invaders, and probably also, I don't know if Centipede works. or Galaxian or that kind of stuff, or even like Buck Rogers, and where you just have to move the plane left and right. Maybe even River Raid, I'm not sure. I don't want to waste time checking out all the controllers. That's another 40 minutes. I mean, all the games and all that. But at least it works. So this is why, and these are the points I touched on. The cable, the Seagull's not needed. He has his own setup with a 4-score. But this is better range, and this is fewer adapters. And what HyperGain adapters? Well, I touched on that too. Hopefully that answers all your questions, and this is getting a little long, so thanks for watching. Just gonna make this a nice even 21 minutes. 6